Good morning, Making Moves family. It's 10 o'clock on Tuesday, so your favorite hosts, boom, boom, Tim and Tim are back. This past couple of weeks have been fun. We've been traveling all over different mastermind events. Austin, Texas. We're in Houston, Texas for a conference, the MFIN conference, and Tim Vest just got back from San Francisco. So this week we're going to talk about our mastermind events. We're going to talk about things that we learned and people that we met and opportunities that were discussed. But otherwise, Tim, how you doing today, bud? You look a little cold.
Yeah, a little cold. I had to move rooms for a little bit. Got the final little piece to my office getting delivered today, so I can't be in there.
Oh, is it a big surprise? Can we know, or is it a big surprise?
It's the casting couch. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Is that a bad reference? I'm sorry.
Not at all. I think it's PG.
Yeah. It's a place to sit and chill and play guitar and finish off the back of the room.
Hey Tim, how come you never serenade me with your guitar? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. I tend to save that for people not named Tim.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, dude. So how was San Francisco?
It was great. I hadn't been there in 10 years. And man, I used to go there for business all the time. Hadn't been there in 10 years. It's changed quite a bit, if you can believe that. You saw some impacts from COVID, which is, not a surprise. I saw some of that in New York City as well when I was there in July. But overall, it was really good. The mastermind or the networking was incredible. Went out there about 2 days early to just kind of hang out with some investors that have, quite frankly, invested with me over the last couple of years that I've never actually met face to face, and some other folks that I've been working with and coaching some myself, and then to hang out with my coach and mentor Marco. And it was a good time. Cannot place a high enough value on sitting there in those rooms, having coffee, having dinner, having, whatever with these folks for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed I couldn't go to that one. But I know that they're doing one in Florida, so I'll be at that Florida one at like TPC Sawgrass or something. So I have it in my calendar to see if I can book a tea time with some people in our mastermind to play that golf course, which is ridiculously expensive. It's like $600 a round or something stupid. But, life experiences, people, more important than money. That's for sure. You can always make more.
Yeah. No, and it's gonna be a great event. I was really surprised at the number of people who flew out for it. I was thinking, man, I'm gonna go out there. It's gonna be a lot of West Coast folks, and there's a lot of West Coast people. I mean, I think somebody flew in from Alaska.
That's not that far from San Fran, though.
Yeah, but we had a lot of folks from the East Coast fly in. A lot of people from the Midwest. So it was a pretty good mix of people. So I'm really looking forward to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be into April, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the exact dates, but yeah, it is towards the end of April.
Yeah, really looking forward to Florida. As many times as I've been down there, I don't think I've ever been to Ponte Vedra.
Me neither.
But cool.
All right. So I've been dying to ask you. You made this big, beautiful post on LinkedIn about giving away a deal in Dallas and some of the connections and conversations that you had at your mastermind event in San Francisco. You got to tell us more about that. I mean, that's super high level on LinkedIn. We want to hear the details.
Yeah. So there were actually a couple of things I was looking at in Dallas that actually came to me through another mastermind that I've been in through some connections there. And we're still talking about that one. In fact, I was supposed to meet with him this morning, but got caught in a meeting and had to reschedule for later today. But there's an event coming in, a property that we're looking at in Dallas. But then along with that was 2 pieces of land and two industrial buildings. And while I was out there at the event, I just happened to run into somebody that wants to do some ground up development. They're looking for opportunities like that. And they also happen to do industrial, flex industrial, things like that. And in this particular case, the seller would like to go with one buyer or one group, and I don't, I don't want the flex. I don't want the industrial. Don't want to do my first dive into industrial from what's that, 1,200 miles away.
Yeah.
I want the multifamily piece, and was able to kind of bring that to somebody else, and that's looks like it could be potential. We'll catch up on that one as
Yeah.
I know more. But
Awesome.
yeah, so was able to bring that to somebody, and that's like a $30 million off market deal for
Nice.
this person that could easily in that market turn into an $80 million you know after they do everything they need to do.
Hmm.
So I was able to connect with that one, and then while we were there, we were able to close out a couple of deals that we've been working on with investors face to face. And so, yeah, I mean, sitting in those rooms, passing over a $30 million deal to someone, and then being able to close out some of our own, uh, can't put a price tag on it, man.
No, absolutely not. I love talking about this stuff because everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, $5,000 for this event, blah 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 blah." I'm like, you can't put a price tag on the amount of money that you could potentially make, and you never know who's going to be in the room. You never know who's going to be in the room, right? You weren't
Yeah,
going to San Francisco to meet with a developer. You weren't going to San Francisco to meet with these investors that well, I mean, some of them you were, but potentially the other ones that got into your deals that you've never met before, it just casually comes up in conversation. Like, I don't know if anybody listening has never been to one of these mastermind events. I love them because where else can you go talk about business for 4 days straight and not get tired of it? I
yeah,
mean, the ideas that come out of there, I mean, the creative juices that start flowing, you start problem solving and coming up with solutions and connecting with people that you otherwise would have never met. Or maybe you're putting a face to the name for somebody that you've known on social media forever, but you've never been able to sit down and talk face to face. The conversations are just different.
yeah,
Face to face conversations are just absolutely different. I mean, you can't even really describe how like this vulnerability barrier kind of goes away because you're like, oh well, I paid $5,000 to be at this event, and you also paid $5,000 to be at this event. That means we're equals, and that
yeah.
level of equalness really brings on a different level of trust and openness about your problems and your opportunities.
Yeah, yeah, and then people once they start to meet you face to face, they start to tell you about things. They start to tell you about deals, and we walked away from that event. I got on the plane Sunday morning, and I had leads on 8 potential new deals, new opportunities. If I do one of them, just one, and we probably will do at least one. The anything that I paid to be there, I'm gonna 10 or 20x that.
Easily,
In
easily.
returns easily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. I mean, it's just, oh God, it's so important. I mean, that's why I wanted to talk about it this show because I know that you and I have been all over the place, and like now we talked about it in our mentorship group on Monday. It was like, okay, well, we just went to a ton of events like back to back to back to back. Now it's like, all right, I'm gonna take a step back for 60 or 90 days, and now I'm gonna put my head down and put the work in. All of the opportunities and the connections and the information that I learned, now I need to go implement it.
yeah. Agreed, agreed. And
Oh, here's a
here's
here's a great comment about,
I was getting ready to do the same thing. I was getting
yeah,
ready to do that one as
that's a
well.
great comment. Whoever is Facebook user, you need to go on the StreamYard and allow them to show your name so I know who this is.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's a good point, talking about a comfort zone, because anybody who knows me from a while back, or any portion of my life, I'm not an extrovert. I mean, I'm an introvert. On Friday at 5, I'm just as soon put the garage door down and just sit on the couch and watch movies with my family as talk to anybody. Um, but you're right. You got to push through your comfort zone. But at the end of the day, these are just people. It's just people at the event. And, I'm literally standing in a group on Saturday talking to a couple of folks, and it dawns on me after some conversation, and he was not bragging or boasting. It just you start to ask somebody what they do, and they start to lay out like some of the things they've done and what they have and stuff like that. And you realize, oh man, this guy's probably got $100 million in net worth standing right here, standing there with the blue jeans and a jacket and a shirt, just like me. I mean, he's just another guy,
Right.
just
All you
another
know
guy.
the difference? He's been putting action. He's putting words into action for a longer period of time. He's not doing better or worse than you. He's just been in the game longer.
Yeah, yeah, and but at the end of the day, it's just another person, and these are just people. They're there for the same reason you are, to make
Yep.
connections and network. So network, just talk, just
Yeah.
just chat.
So we got a question about which ones do we recommend? Results are not typical, and you need to find the one that fits for you.
Yeah,
And I say that because there are different level there I mean, there's different levels to it, right? Going to, an event with people that are worth 100 million or $200 million is so I mean, it is so far beyond even where I am right now that the things that they're talking about and discussing almost go right over my head. I mean, I understand what they're talking about, but I don't have the experience to put those things into action. So, making sure you're in the right room with, people that aren't too far ahead of you is one of the most important parts because Tim Best said it just a moment ago was if they can do it, I can do it. I mean, they're
yeah,
just average people. They've just been in the game longer. So you need to kind of latch on to somebody that's not too far ahead of you that you can say, well, they just did that. So that means I can do it too because it must not be that hard, right?
well,
So important.
yeah, and guess what? Guess what? If they did it, there's already a roadmap. Even if
Yes.
it's their roadmap, just follow their roadmap. Nobody's going to take offense to you copying what they did. In fact, if you want to know how Tim and I got to where we are right now, which we're not at 100 million. Don't please
Not
don't
even
confuse
close.
that. But if anybody wants to know how we got from start to where we are now, just just let us know.
Yeah.
We'll tell you about it.
I
Um,
mean, man, our mentorship students, basically, they're just mirroring what we've done over the last 2 years so that they can get to where we are. Because we're
yeah,
only about a year or two ahead of them. Now, those people with 100, $200 million net worth, they've been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years.
yeah,
And eventually, one day I'll be there. But it's so far intangible right now that it doesn't like click, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's like, I don't know how to put that into action. You're giving me information that's amazing, but I can't do anything with it right now.
yeah. And all of these guys, I've rarely run into anybody who's not willing to share. Like we both know Javier, and I sat down with him one time, and I wanted to say, I was a little nervous to ask him, like, your systems, your processes, blah blah blah, whatever, like that's got to be like the secret recipe, right? And he was like, "You want to know? Hold on." And he like calls up his IT guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to send Tim over to you. I want you to talk to him, show him everything."
Yeah.
And it was like, I've it was amazing, and that seems to be the norm for the most part. Most folks will say, "No, this is how I did it," and
It's
show
dude, it's
you.
full transparency.
Yeah,
All of our mentors, like our students right now, I mean, it's completely like here's everything, guys. Personal financial statements, how we structured deals, ones that we're currently closing. And when we had our class yesterday, I mean, and thankfully you were able to kind of finish it out because I had to get off a little earlier. But we just sat there and talked for 2 hours
hmm,
because the conversations are different when you're trying to figure out how to replicate a process. Because what Tim and I have done is not revolutionary. Real estate has been around for a lot longer than we have. All we're doing is mirroring what other successful people have done before us. And like what Tim said about Javier, I mean, he was such an amazing human. He was like, "Hey, how do you do something?" And he just opened up the hood to his car and was like, "Here, this is how it's done." And that's ultimately why the two of us ended up joining his mastermind because we are like, "There's a lot of value in that." And
yeah,
he's a couple degrees of separation ahead of us, which is perfect because he's done what we want to be doing. And now he's starting to change and grow and develop and diversify. And it's like, okay, well, once I'm here, now I understand it. I have the systems and the processes. I also want to start looking at other ways to diversify. Let me talk to my mentor so I can say, hey, I know that you were in my place not that long ago. What should if you had to redo it, what would you do differently? And what would you recommend me to do right now?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Which one are you going for? Yeah,
Yeah, Daniel Reddick, man. The mindset of abundance is prevalent. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. and that's key, guys. Like if you find anybody that wants to like just keep it all and not share, that's fine. Let them just move on. There's another one out there,
Hmm.
um, and there's plenty of people out there with that abundance mindset. Because it's true. There's so much out there. There's plenty. There's plenty. We can all share, and there's plenty to be had. So, get out there, ask questions, and here's one I wanted to put out there because you're right. Whoever Facebook user is here, um, there are a ton of groups out there, and you can get lost. Just like anything else, though, you just got to do your due diligence. Know what you're looking for. Ask yourself what you want to accomplish. Know what you're looking for, and then go have conversations to see what might be a fit for you. Because you're right, like I've got three people I consider a coach or a mentor, and I landed on them because I I had conversations with, probably 30 people, right?
Hmm.
Before I did that.
That's fine. I mean, that's actually how you and I met. Was I was interested in joining the mastermind that you were in, and I said, "Wait a second, let me, I like this guy. Let me go talk to somebody that's in his group and see what what his feedback is on the group itself." And that's ultimately how I met Tim Vest. I was like, "Oh, your name's Tim V as well, and you like real estate and live in Charlotte. Let's go get coffee." And we ended up sitting there talking for what, a couple hours, and they ended up kicking us out at one point. But yeah, I mean, that was me doing my due diligence on one of Tim Vest's mentors. And I'm not as close to him as he is, obviously. But I mean, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to be crossing paths with. Because, like I said, you're one conversation away from changing your life. Um, oh, what's up, Christina? That's how you put the comment there. So love it. My 5-year-old daughter plays soccer, and most of her team members are much better than her. It's making her a way better player. Made me think of your Javier example and him being ahead. Oh, thanks, man. That's absolutely true. I mean, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? So if if you're playing golf in a foursome and the other 3 people in the group are terrible, you're going to play terrible. But if the other 3 people in your group are A players, you're going to go out there and you're going to play as hard as you can because you try to come to the same level of the people that you're around. So the age-old saying of "you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with" is absolutely true in every single situation you put yourself in. Whether you're a 5-year-old daughter playing soccer or you're a 60-year-old man playing golf on the weekends or during the weekdays with your buddies, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with it. My daughter plays soccer as well, and they are always looking for the team above them to practice against. That's what they're always looking for. And it's the same thing. Like get in the room with people who are above where you want to be or where you are currently. Get into the room with people who are where you want to be.
Yeah.
Um, they'll raise your game, and that it's so true. That sports analogy definitely carries over.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, so, getting in the room with those people, incredible. Going to conferences, all equally as important. I'm actually, what's today? Tuesday. I'm actually flying to another conference on Thursday in Dallas, which I was not intending on going to, but John Jackson, if you're listening to this, he called me out and said, "Hey, successful people make decisions immediately. Do you want to go to this event?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "What? You sure?" And I was like, "Yes." And so that's how I ended up going to this event. His spiel is what is it? The road to success. The road to success is paved with dead squirrels who couldn't make a decision. And he was like, "Are you going to be a dead squirrel, Tim?" And I was like, "No, I'm going."
Yeah. Don't hesitate. Right. Um, Stand in the middle of the road, looking 10 different ways.
Dude, this comment right here, right? I feel masterminds are mindset driven with the mechanics of multifamily. A million times, yes, because what a lot of successful people like to say, um, who do I have to become in order to be a millionaire? The main part is you have to change on the inside first. And if you're going to portray out into the world what you want, you need to change your inner self first and be comfortable with yourself and learn the mindset and the mentality of how to become successful by changing your mindset. I mean, it's absolutely 100% true. It's oh my god, like I'm kind of lost for words right now because it's just so profound that yes, they are mostly mindset driven because Your own limiting beliefs are going to be the things that hold you back. Absolutely, those are the things that are going to be holding you back.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. Because that's it. We'll talk about. Let's go back to the introvert thing for a second.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, um, I'm 100% an introvert. And when I was, looking to raise capital from other people, that literally would make me sweat. The thought of like getting on a call with somebody, and first of all, I thought I asked them for money, which is so far from the truth. Um, but I, you know, that limiting belief that I couldn't do this. I remember having a conversation with my mentor at the time. And I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And he's just like, what do you mean you can't? He was like, you can't do it because you're telling yourself that.
Hmm.
And he was like, you can absolutely do it. You just got to change your mindset. So
Hmm.
removing that limitation in my own head was the first step. So, just get over that hurdle. And I know it sounds easy, right? Like,
It
just change
does.
your mind.
It's
Just change your mind.
you don't really get it until you get it. And it's I hate saying that, but it's true. Until you experience it and you realize when that click happens, you can say it all you want, but you can't really get it until you've done it. And coaches and masterminds, I mean, those help you do that because you're sitting around with people that you now consider equals because we all paid the same amount of money to be in the same room. And you start talking about a problem in your business, and they're like, "What are you talking about? That's not a problem. Just do this." That's the either your coach or the other members in your mastermind that are helping you break your own limiting beliefs, which push you to continue to grow.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so true. Like, that's the other part about masterminds. Like, a lot of people get into them because they like the head of the head, right? A lot of people get into Michael Blanks because they want to be around Michael Blank or whatever. But it's so much more than that, right? It's not just the guy who runs the group; it's all the other people that you're around. Um,
You,
for
you
instance.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for instance, this weekend, I ran into a guy who's done it all. I mean, he's done ground up development, he's done, build to rent, he's done multifamily apartments, you name it. And getting in that room and hearing him talk about like the things he's done had nothing to do with the head of the mastermind, but he was in that room and I got to sit there and talk to him. And, just hearing what he's done over the last 20 years, man, that was like eye opening, you know?
Yeah, and the other thing that was prevalent and very profound and like kind of a light bulb switch moment for me was people say that you're paying for the people not in the room. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm paying $5,000 to be here because of all the people in the room. But it's so powerful because I didn't get it until I got it. Is because you're paying to be in the room and you are in the room with these people that you're now equals with. If you don't know somebody or they don't know somebody, somebody in the room does, and they can easily make a phone call and make it happen for you, like
Yeah.
incredibly easy. I had that aha moment when we had the Rosewood deal under contract actually. And I had went to our securities attorney and I was like, "Hey, can you do the legal work?" And he's like, "No, I can't." Because I didn't understand that he had to be licensed in Alabama in order to do the closing stuff. Um, so then I was in a room. I was literally at Tim Brotz's mastermind. And I was like, "Does anybody know a closing attorney in Alabama that they would reference?" And one guy raised his hand. He said, "Yeah, actually, one of the guys that I know does a lot of deals in Alabama. Let me get you a number real quick." And then within 5 seconds, I had a number to the closing attorney that came highly referred from somebody that's used them a bunch of times. That is paying for the people that are not in the room. By being in the room, you're paying for the people not in the room. Like it's counterintuitive, but it's so powerful.
Yeah. And then, that I was actually having a conversation with my wife about this on Sunday. She asked me how it was and, was it worth it? And we started talking about the properties that I have now. And I was like, the thing is, and I posted about this on the way out there because I had a number of people asking me, are these things worth it? Are these things worth it? Are masterminds worth it? And what I told my wife was, I can draw a direct line. I'm in three masterminds. I can draw a direct line from one of those three to every single deal I've done. A direct line, like not dotted,
True. I never
a
thought about
direct
it, but
line.
I can too.
Yeah, I can. Being in one of those three has enabled every deal that I've done in some way.
Hmm.
What, some as obvious as, the lead of the mastermind is a KP on one of our
Yep.
deals, right? The others being, I met one of my business partners in a mastermind, and through that we've done deals. You name it. I can draw a direct line that has enabled every deal that I've done, and the acquisition fees, the asset management fees, the cash flow, the net worth, all of that has been enabled through those deals, which have come as a result of those masterminds. So is it worth it? I mean, I can literally put a dollar value on it. So yeah, it's worth it for sure.
Yeah. Who Facebook user again? I don't disagree with you. We talked. Maybe you joined in a little late, but that we talked about that a little earlier, where
Mhm.
we just went to a bunch of these different conferences and masterminds, and now it's like, all right, I need to take a 60 or 90-day break from going to events so that I can put my head
Mhm.
down to work. So I did. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up again because you're absolutely correct. Becoming a serial conference goer does not help you. You can shake hands and kiss babies all you want, but if you're not putting in the work and getting the action done, you're not going to go anywhere with all the information and the connections that you make.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, the very first one I was in, and that is Facebook user. That is a great, great piece of feedback because it's so absolutely true. And the very first mastermind I was in, there were a few guys in there who every week, it was always beyond me because I'm like, you paid to be here. Why is this your answer every week? But every week it was, things got busy and I didn't have time, or I didn't do something this week because, this, or there was always a reason why they didn't take any action that week. And that was a consistent pattern with them. And to this day, they still haven't done anything. And you're right. You're 100% right. Like, none of these do you any good whatsoever if you don't take action coming out of it. What you learn in the mastermind, you got to act on it. When you meet people at these conferences and they're like, "Hey, I got a deal I want you to look at," or "Hey, let's have coffee," or "Let's talk when you get home," call them, have coffee with them, look at the deal. You have to take action on
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think the saying is like 5% of the mass majority will join a mastermind. And then maybe 50% of the 5% within the mastermind will actually do something with the information. Because some people are just serial learners. Like they just want to learn, they want to be involved, and they want to understand, but they don't, ever get past the analysis paralysis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it earlier. I completely agree with you. There's very few. Sure, I've run into a few that have been like, "No, I don't want to talk to you." But there are very few people that I've run into who won't chat with you, who won't point you to somebody, who won't network with you, who won't offer something,
Yep.
some sort of little nugget that you can take and do something with.
It comes back to what we were saying earlier, the abundance mindset. I mean, you
Mhm.
have to be a go giver, right? Give, 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 give with no expectation of return. And I feel like most people, right? Not everybody, most people in real estate have that mentality. I've never gone to something, and if somebody didn't know, they'd be like, "Hey, well, I know somebody that does. Let me connect you." I'm not going to ask for a fee or money or whatever. All I want to do is I want to help you grow because there's enough. Oh, Tim, that's one of my favorite ones. Tim Bratz likes to say, wealth is like sunshine. You going outside in the sun doesn't take away any sun from me because there's so much wealth and there's so much money to go around that we can be both outside and getting sun, and I can help you get more sun, right? If you need it. I need a little sun myself right now. I'm a little pasty, but summertime's coming.
Hey, they're making more money every day, right?
And that's
Um,
hey, they're printing more money every day. That's for sure.
Yeah, we could talk about the wealth aspect of that, but the pure number is there.
Yeah,
Um,
right. All right, well, cool, man. This has been a really fun and exciting show. I know we talk about masterminds and that kind of stuff a lot because it is so important. Like Tim Vest was saying, like we both can draw a straight line from every mastermind and event that we've been to tying to some type of deal in one way or another. So all I can say, I'll go out with this and say, hey, like pay to be in the room. Proximity is power. The more you pay to be in the room, the smaller the room, the better it's going to be. The information is just continually getting better and better and better.
yep, couldn't agree more, man.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got this week. Catch us in next week. See you later.
See you guys.